It's a great. I like it because it's a functional high. Like when I'm done, I'm high. But you know.
This is functional?
Yeah. Well, this is how my brain functions.
You are now watching the Chris LaBelle Show.
Sam, you're jumpy. Yeah, jumpy Sam is. He's a jumpy one, that Sam on the TV. Man, it feels weird when people are recording your life and you're just sitting here and there's just two dudes. They're so tall. They're both like 6+. I'm tiny. I'm in a chair, which I feel even smaller. One's doing backflips because he's young, right? He just did. He's just young. He's just doing backflips like, fuck this old guy. But we're renting his camera and he came through. So now we have a show from a second angle. So it's like, holy fuck. Thank you, Sam.
Nice truck, bud.
Oh yeah, she's a beauty.
Yeah, you want to go for a rip or?
Oh, let's get her done, bro.
A little banger, baby.
Did you just spill your motherfucking double-double on my brand new seat?
Sorry, eh?
That's what I'm asking. Who wants to be in a movie? Let's make a movie. Why aren't we making a movie? We're going to make a movie. Like, well, we will be paid. Welcome to the arts. Welcome to the arts. We will shoot a movie and you will be in it. And you'll be like, who's getting paid? You will be paid. You will be paid. Welcome to episode 19. For Whom LaBelle Tolls.
I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, dude, you got to make a change, man. You got to make some changes. I'm not walking up no mountains, but I'm definitely gonna, cause like I fucking lost all the weight. I was on the money train.
Well, you're looking the leanest I've seen you.
I was even leaner. I was 160 pounds.
Whoa.
And so I was just about building muscle, all right? And because I was like, no more weight loss at 160, all right?
Yeah.
At 160,
160 is
like,
enough.
Yeah.
You weighed that when you were in grade 8.
Right. I have to be honest when I say, forget your age. You're in phenomenal shape, period. It's kind of funny, and I mean this as a compliment. You're my Canada's Joe Rogan. You know what I mean?
What?
Like, yeah, man, like you're fucking in such a great shape. And I know that like the thing about a great body is it requires discipline. You can't, I mean, technically you can buy it, but you know what I mean. Like that requires discipline. And in my craft, our craft, which is comedy, discipline is what separates good, great, and legendary. And so when I see that a person can discipline what goes in their body, that is the hardest thing to do. And people don't realize that the hardest thing to do is to first discipline what you eat. If you can control that impulse, the rest of the world, if you follow the same practice, your life should be mapped out in a fairly easy way. But I mean, how many people get that craving in the middle of the night, or even, you know, when you're bunning on tingas and you're like, yo, I'm gonna fucking eat this, or you get drunk and you're like, I don't care what I'm doing, I'm going to you and me restaurant and I'm eating everything on the left side of the menu. Like you get
I've
those
seen him
impulses.
do this.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like, those things are these constant. I feel like a lot of our life is impulses. It's a lot of impulses. I wake up. All right. I want to get up. That's an impulse. It's just our life is a bunch of impulses that bring us to a place in our life that we are in today. And the fact that you are following with all the other crazy impulses you have, still able to keep in control with that. I find it admirable and amazing because I lack that discipline, and it was an inspiration to me. And so that is not anything to float your boat. It's just like sometimes it's not about floating your boat. It's about recognizing what you see. You know what I mean? Like I say that to you the same way I say that you have phenomenal hair, or that you have a gorgeous son who I don't want to fucking know what that's like when he's 18. Cause
he actually had his first date yesterday.
Oh.
Went to the movies with a nice young lady.
Now, how do you like? Okay, because I have a son coming up, and you know, he's gonna be a stud. You know what I'm saying? He's already 5 feet tall. He's got the abs. You know what I'm saying?
He's almost taller than I am.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and he's only 11. And So the other day he was walking around the house and he had a hard on in his shorts, and his sisters are 4 years old, and they're so he's walking in the shorts and they're banging. It's banging. You know what I'm saying? And my daughter goes, "What is that? What is that?" And she follows him around the house and she goes, "What is this? What is this?" She goes, "I don't like whatever this is. This has to stop." And she's just following him and she's yelling at everybody in the house. Sincere's got something in his pants and I don't like it. And I'm just dying laughing because I'm like, them hormones are kicking in a lot earlier, right? I remember mines were kicking in. He's definitely got daddy's genes because mines were kicking in 10, 11 years old. You know what I mean? By 12, you had hair. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, did you ever, like, okay, this is going to be weird, but like, when I was 12 years old, I was in what, grade 6? 12 or grade 6 or 7. I can't remember what grade that is. I think it's grade 6. Who cares? The point is, we were in the boys' change room, and he had like the boys' moment where it's like, "Do you have any hair? You got any hair?" And the way we would do it is to put our hands down our pants and rip hair out and show it to people and be like, "Yeah, I am a man." And I remember doing that.
Where'd you go to school? Federal Penitentiary? What kind of school do you rip out? Is this Hunger Games? Like, where did you go?
I mean, it was a little bit of it, but it was wild. But that was because it's like, you know.
You couldn't just show them?
No, man. Like, I will say, you know, I didn't have the maturity and understanding that I have today. So I will admit that in my youth, we were very homophobic.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so everything was, that's gay. So even though a bunch of boys in a room together pulling out pubic hairs to show each other, that's not gay. But if you flash them, you're a perv. So the way we would do it is be like, "Yo, bro, if you have it, then you can just pull it out and show it." And so we would rip hair out and in the change room and be like, "Nah." And the more hair you could rip out, the more manly it made you because it meant that you had more than just fuzz. And so
the Lebanese guy came out with 2 handfuls.
Yeah, and he was just scratching his back. But like, so now I'm looking at my son and I'm like, oh my goodness, he's coming to that moronic age. And I say it's moronic because boys are morons when they're young. Now that I'm older, it's like, wow, like, I really wish women understood how volatile and emotions were of a young boy. Like, we are out of control. We are lunatics. We do stupid stuff, and my son's getting to that age now.
My son broke into an abandoned school and got arrested.
You see?
Stupid.
But at the time, if you ask him, it was the perfect idea.
Oh, at the time, yeah.
And that's the thing. And it's like, our chemical imbalance. I'm not excusing any kind of extreme crimes or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, the decisions we make are stupid, but it's the way we feel inside. It's like, we've got to hit, you know, like, as guy friends, we would want to play tackle football so
full
that
speed.
We can hit each other
full speed.
At full speed.
In the winter.
Yes,
the
because
winter,
the snow had padding. Yeah.
You'd still go head to head, smash each other, land in the snow that was trampled down by 5 recesses, but now you're playing full contact in -30 Alberta weather because you were in Ontario in those days.
But didn't it feel good?
Oh, yeah.
When you got that aggression out, when you grabbed a dude and slammed him full speed into the ground, you would get up and breathe fire. Yeah. And it's like, watching that as an adult, you're like, what?
Doesn't exist now.
Is wrong with it?
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, they've removed fun.
That's why I put my son in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
that's why he's at this
energy.
Gym. He's got to expend
that energy.
These children are so healthy. They're so healthy. Here at Alavanca, these children, they're so healthy. Skin, eyes, hair, like they walk differently. You watch the kids come in here and then when they leave and then go out when you're out for coffee on a patio, just kind of watch how other youth are and how they conduct themselves. Martial arts is changed our lives, brother. Like
martial arts is phenomenal.
Changed
I think
our
that
lives.
Everybody, period. There's
you
two
got to
things
get that out. That
I
football
think
head. That what we did.
People should do is martial arts and yoga. Those are two things that I think are staples.
You know what's interesting? Jiu-jitsu is a combination of yoga and martial arts. Because
didn't know that.
What are we doing? We're rolling in a hot room on a mat, stretching our bodies,
and going through positions with somebody else while you're being stretched and pulled in a hot room on a mat. When you're done, you're a pool of sweat, your body's been well conditioned, your heart rate's going, but it wasn't high intensity as if it were like, a high intensity sport like playing like basketball or something, or hockey, where it's super high intensity. This is like maybe medium intensity, and you're still getting as much calories burned.
Slow burn.
And your mind is at ease because you were using the martial art mentality, but the physicality of like maybe just some advanced yoga. Like Thai yoga massage is 2 people. So when they put you into those positions, they hold, stretch you, and massage you. So the only thing different is no one's massaging you in jiu-jitsu, but everything else is the same.
They're choking you.
Yeah, they're bending your arm backwards.
They're trying to get that choke on.
Actually, I'll be honest. I put him in jiu-jitsu to see him get his ass kicked because I can't do it no more.
I put him into kickboxing, Thai kickboxing.
Okay.
Is what my son's in.
Muay Thai.
That's the word. Yeah. You see, like, I don't fight. But yeah, I put him into that as well. And it's just, parenting.
You got to drag him there, or does he go?
Nah, he goes. He
goes.
He
That's
goes.
good.
I just drive him in. I'm dragging because I'm the one that's got to drive halfway across the city to take him.
You live by the airport, right?
Yeah, and the Muay Thai is on the other end of the damn city, so it's a 40-minute drive. Ooh. But I do it for him. It's the sacrifice. Like, it's anybody who's like, why should you not have a child? And I'm like, because you can't be selfish anymore. And not only can you not be selfish, you don't want to be. So you will do things you don't want to do because you love that person more than you love yourself.
100%.
And that's when you realize there's a different level of love, because self-love is important. But I always say, like, it's different when you have self-love, you'll die for anything, right? You're not afraid to die. But when you have love for another, you have another strength, which is the strength to live. That's even more, it's more powerful. It's easy to die for something. It's harder to live for something, because death is instant and life is a long, arduous road. You know what I'm saying? And there's ups and downs no matter whose life you have. And so having a child has given me that humility and understanding where there's a bigger picture. It's bigger than what we most understand.
Well, you have more than just your son.
Yeah, I have 3 kids.
You have 3 children.
I have a son, he's 11, and my 2 little girls, like I was talking about, are 4 twin girls. I have twins. And each one of them are individuals in their own right, and I do not raise them the same. They're all different. They all require different attention, different ways of talking to them, and which just makes me laugh, because I'm like, hey, Mom, you raised all of us the same, right? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, you were terrible then, because all of us have different personalities. How did you just be like, this is the law? And you know what I mean? And it's like, as I was saying that as a joke, right, and I was saying that as a joke to one of my friends, and they hit me with something that was very enlightening. And it was that, because I was like, ragging on my mom. I'm like, how are you gonna mess up? How am I seeing how you messed up? How come you couldn't make these changes? And my friend stopped me and she said, our parents raised us with the tools they had at that time to the best of their abilities. The culture was different. The ideology was different. The way they were raised were different. There's a whole lot of differences that are not the same today. And so when she put it in that perspective, I was like, you were still terrible, Mom. Like, you could have done a lot better. No, I'm just.
Well, she didn't have to raise nobody through a pandemic.
No, but she had to raise 5 children, which is a pandemic in that house. That's ridiculous. But it's like, now that I'm a parent, it's almost like a jiu-jitsu fight, because it's constantly changing and rapping, and it's every fighter is different, and I don't know if it's good. What's happening? It's just this constant puzzle.
You have to be uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah, that's parenting. And because there's a lot of uncomfortable moments parenting. It is a stressful, taxing job. It never ends. It's morning to night, 24 hours a day. Because even when you're not parenting, what's on your mind? Your children.
Yes.
Right? How are they? How are they doing? You see something that triggers your emotions as a parent, like a commercial or an ad, or you see a family. Oh my God, I didn't call. Man, I haven't called my son in a few hours. I got to get hold of him. Man, I got to. And then you start. Man, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. And that's, as a parent, that's all.
I get that. I'm not doing enough.
I'm not
so
doing enough.
Much.
I need to make it.
Bro, you don't know how many times I have that I'm not doing enough moment. And I'm like, because I'm trying to not be overbearing, but like, cause like I ask questions, but like they're kids, right? Like they barely will talk to you sometimes, like it's not all parents get that relationship where their kids are open with them. And my son is not as open with me. He internalizes a lot of the things, and I could read it on his face. I could read his emotions, but I want him to talk, but he won't talk. And so I always get that feeling of I'm not doing enough. And you know what triggers me? Like something that I'll never do when I'm driving and I see like a mother or a father crossing the street with their children. I give them all the space. And I give them all the time.
I wave.
Yeah, I go take your time. Do what you got to do. Because I'm like, yo, if that was me in them streets and someone rolled up on my car, I'd bust your windshield. And if someone busts my windshield because I almost drove up on them like that, I would be like, I deserve it. You should punch me in the face too, because I'm like, overbearing, protective. I'm like, I will fight. I will. You know what I'm saying? Like, me. It's like I'm like, and so like that's a trigger for me if I see somebody drive too close to someone's children. While they're crossing the street.
Or just plain out not being mindful of families and of children.
Yeah, that
even
triggers
if there's children on the street, like if I'm in a residential zone and a guy's blowing by me or fucking acting aggressively, like driving aggressively, or if there's like,
I do 30 in the school zones, man.
Brother,
I don't ever speed in those things. It's important to me.
You don't speed in general, though.
No, not really. I mean, I do like Albertans at speeding. I on the highway, I drive 10 kilometers over.
Yeah.
That's it. 120. That's it. If I'm being spicy, 125. You know what I mean? That's me being spicy.
That's Alberta.
But that drive, I feel like there's mixed relation.
You drive a lot.
That's all I do is drive.
No, brother, you drive more than.
I drive 1,000 kilometers a week.
As a comedian.
Yeah, as a comedian, I do 1,000 kilometers a week. This week alone, I'm gonna pull in 1,600. I drove into Calgary from Salmon Arm. All right, so I drove from Edmonton to Salmon Arm.
How beautiful was that, though? It's autumn.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's amazing. It's actually, driving long drives used to be a fear. I used to hate it. Now I look forward to it. Nice. I can't wait for the silence of the road because what used to put me to sleep now puts me in a meditative state where you find, see, like for anybody who doesn't understand, there's a creative space in between sleep and awake. And in that space is where you find your ultimate, you find what I call your Zen, your you at your best. Any question you have, any answer you have, like there's the two philosophies of one of knowledge is put into the head and then the other one of knowledge is unlocked from the head. I believe like of the knowledge unlocked from the head. I mean, how was knowledge found? It was someone who unlocked that knowledge from their own head by living. And I find in that space, most of the questions I have, a lot of the jokes that I write, some of the best material I ever wrote was by myself in a car, dead silence, no music, no nothing, no distractions. TV, music, all those things. When you're driving, you realize how big of a distraction it is because nothing else, because driving is unconscious. You could do that drunk. Don't drive drunk, but I'm saying that you could do it unconscious.
That wasn't said on this show. Sterling Scott is not condoning anybody
I don't condone it.
Okay?
I'm just saying like how drunk. You could drive unconsciously. And subconsciously. Yeah, subconsciously. Thank you.
First. I've never got a chance to do that to anybody before.
Yes. So you could drive that way, but then when you're playing music, you notice that it drowns everything else out. So you think about all the stimulation.
But the lyrics
affect you.
Lyrics, the beat, it changes your mood.
But that changes my mood,
100%.
yes.
Watch
but
this.
Now I'm feeling.
Hey, Dominic, when I drive, what do I listen to? Wu-Tang.
He said Wu-Tang.
What do I listen to? Wu-Tang. Okay,
that's
90% of the time when I drive, is there anything on in the car? Do I like music in the car? No.
Neither
I drive
do I.
in silence, bro.
Same here. People think that's weird, but
no, I know people go to put it on. I'm like,
no.
I don't like music.
I'm like, but then again,
it's like visiting and someone puts the TV on. What the fuck, we're visiting. Why is the TV on in the room?
I want to visit what's inside this melon.
100%.
And that drives me towards trying to be better as a comedian, not just for the art form, but for my family. And I know you understand that, where it's like this drive, it's no longer about us. You know what I'm saying? It's the
this drive, you mean life.
Yes, I mean life. Agreed. I meant life in that drive. Like that drive, that aspiration, that goal, which was once the selfish goal of I want to be rich and famous. Now it's I want to provide a better life for my family. They say that true enlightenment is the man that plants the seed knowing he will never be under that tree's shade. That man understands life, and that's what I want to do. I want to be able that my children's grandchildren never know poverty, because my entire line has never known rich, or wealth. And so I want to be the one to break the generational wealth gap. I want to plant that seed that I will never, ever be able to be under that tree. And I'm okay with that because I'm at peace knowing that when I pass, because that's inevitable, that when I pass, that I pass on a better place and a better world.
100%.
And the way that this world is right now, I'm not happy with it. I feel it's, I think it's terrible. It hurts me every day.
It's very suppressive.
I don't do social media very often. I don't read anybody's pages. I don't look at things like that. I post my shows and I move on because I believe what was meant to connect the world has divided it.
Agreed.
And so I want to get back to, and that's why I really love your nature stuff, because as much as you're naked in the woods all the time,
I spend a lot of time naked in the woods.
The connection between sky, earth, water, fire is something beautiful that can't be put into words when you're out in those woods.
Those the elements.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there is something about it. And like when you're out there doing those little manic walks with no shirt on, I'm like, yeah, but that guy has the sun beating on his back. He's breathing in fresh air. He's staring at these beautiful mountains from these high up cliffs that I will never walk up. You're connected. That's the Wi-Fi I want to be plugged into, because I feel like, like there's I grew, you ever grow a plant and eat it? Like it's insanely gratifying.
Grew a plant to smoke it.
Well, I've done that too. In fact, I brought some to give to you. I brought some of that. We'll get into that in a bit. But like that connection, there is a deeper connection, a deeper appreciation
to the universe
when you grow a tomato and then you eat it, as opposed to going into the grocery store and just buying something. There's a deeper connection when you hunt, when you kill an elk,
harvest,
and you
say harvest. Man.
All right, so it's harvest. When you
harvest,
when you do that, there's a deeper connection, a deeper appreciation that this animal gave its life for yours. So it's like, do the best with it, as opposed to going to the grocery store and picking up a slab of meat. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And like, I feel like there's something in what you're doing, because I believe crazy isn't standing in the mountains with no shirt on. Crazy is going to a job 40 hours a week and to only get 2 weeks off per year and calling your life successful. So kudos to you on that. It gives me nothing but inspiration. And, and again, I'm doing my best to get to that level. And with my career, I'm hoping to give myself time. It's crazy because it's like time is more valuable than money.
Oh, yeah.
But you need money to buy time. But when you spend time to make money.
That's it.
So you see how crazy it is? So all I want to do is make enough money that I never need to give it up again. I don't care about money. That's not my aspiration. Money is not what I pursue. It's a result of my actions. So my goal is to become a phenomenal stand-up comedian. Why? Well, the selfish goal is I want to be able to do something that stands the test of time, that when I'm dead and gone, they'll be able to talk about this. That's
legacy.
Yes, that's what I want to do, a legacy through my work and my art. My true legacy is my children, and that's the work and the art that I put into them. But I would like them to also be able to see someone who did something that is not conventional. It is a terrible idea to be a stand-up comedian. It is a terrible idea.
He's not kidding.
To be somebody who stands on stage every night having to defend their ideas, as Kyle Kinane would have said. And it is still yet, as difficult as something may be, which we all know life is difficult, to see success through pain shows perseverance. And perseverance is what I would like my children to see through my success. That whatever their goals will be or whatever their dreams may be, through perseverance, they can survive. Why? Because I come from a lineage of perseverance.
Now,
And so yeah.
Are your children in a position where they're facing perseverance, where they're developing the perseverance to grind and to push and to they see daddy hustling and grinding and doing what he needs to maintain a lifestyle, and that's simplicity, like just like a Maslow's hierarchy, just roof, shelter, food, you know what I'm saying? Just like the 5 hierarchies. And just like now with that said, do you see your children demonstrate that perseverance?
Well, definitely, but not a lot. I mean, my daughters are 4. Their idea of perseverance is climbing up the stairs without falling down. But in my 11-year-old son, there was things that I saw which it hurt my heart, but I can only imagine how much it hurt him. Like, for example, he went to go play basketball with some kids. He just was outside. We went to the park. There were some kids playing basketball. I said, yeah, go ahead. Go ask them to play. And he was playing with them for a bit, and then he comes back. And I said, well, why'd you come back? And he goes, well, the kid that owns the ball, he doesn't want to play with me. And so he told me I have to leave.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, I wanted to go and drop kick every child on the court, you know what I mean? But I said to him, I said, okay, Sterling, I think this is a time of teaching. And I said, why did they say that? He goes, they said because I can't shoot a 3. And I go, but none of them are shooting 3s. And he goes, yeah, I know. They set an unrealistic goal. And I go, it's not unrealistic. It's just that they set a goal that they thought you couldn't achieve to push you out, right? For whatever reasons that person wanted to push you out, that's their own. You don't know their story or what they're going through. But that's more about them than it is about you. And don't ever say that it's not realistic that you can't shoot 3s. That requires practice. And 2 days later, I went by to go and check on them. And I bought him a basketball net years ago, and he was in the backyard shooting 3s. And you know what I mean? Nobody told him to do that. That's him trying to
his own drive.
Yes.
Nice.
Him trying to persevere so that nobody could ever tell
Say
him
that to
no
him again.
And that is the example of perseverance that I've seen in my son.
Very nice.
In my daughters, like I said, not much. But what is interesting is how intelligent women are. They develop on a completely different level. Watching my son, I was like, everything he did, I was like, I understand that. I know exactly why he did that. I get this. My daughters operate on such a different level. And it's interesting because they're 4 years old and they do not like being talked to like children. So their conversations with you, although their dialect may struggle, they're very intense. They're very, very intense. I woke up one day, I was sleeping on the couch, and I opened my eyes, and my 4-year-old daughter is standing over me. Her name is Savannah, and she's looking me dead in the eye. And I wake up, I'm shocked, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And she goes, I thought about it, and I guess I do love you. And then walked off. And I was like, what just happened here? What are she walked up on me sleeping, stared at me and was like, I don't know if I like this motherfucker. You know what I mean? And then by the time I opened my eyes, God knows how long she was there, she was like, yeah, you know what? I thought about it. Like, that is so profound and deep. She did that at 3. You know what I mean? At 3 years old, she understood the concept of love, something that a lot of people in their adult age cannot understand. And the way when she said, I guess I love you, it means that she genuinely understood the difference between love and, like.
She was
or maybe that,
pondering this
she's
idea.
like, who is this person to me? And so as crazy as that was, I was like, my little serial killer daughter, it touched me because it's like, I feel like that's the first time she ever told me she loves me. You know what I mean? And meant it and understood it, not just parroting the phrases that she's heard. You know what I mean? Like, she understood that concept. And watching them struggle with words to get across how they truly feel, to the point where people call them adults. Like, they ask her all the time. They're like, one time they ask her this so much times that she can answer it. I go, are you an old soul? Are you a person that came back? And she's like, this question again. She goes, no, I'm just a child. It's just that all adults do is meh, 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 and they think I'm joking. And I'm like, who are you? Like, who says this? is.
Yeah,
like,
she's your daughter.
she's doing these things.
She's your daughter.
And it's just like, it's very, so watching them persevere to be recognized as equals is very relatable to me because of the fact that they're only 4 years old, and so people would think of them as insignificant with their thoughts, ideas. Sounds a lot like whenever I walk into a boardroom trying to pitch a TV show and I don't have any TV shows. I'm no different to them than in their eyes as a toddler is in my eyes. They're like, who's this nobody with no ideas and no experience? You know what I'm saying?
When's the last time you pitched a show?
It's been a minute. The last time I pitched a show was 2017, to be honest. 2017 and 18. And that was when I got the development deal. So it started out as a big deal.
What was the development deal?
It was, I got signed by Kevin Hart. And it was a big deal at first in 2017.
Did you meet him too?
Of course, man. He actually, so like, the story goes and it starts out great, ends terrible.
Oh.
So I was at Just for Laughs and I performed at LOL at JFL. And on the night that I performed, the lineup was stacked. It was stacked.
Who's on there?
I mean, for example, Ben Glebe, Tony Baker, very famous for the animal voices. This guy named Toure, who is one of the people that was the original people that were working with Kev.
Okay.
Toure is actually in his book. When he talks about his book, he's like, the comic that first put him on is a comic named Toure from Chicago. He was on the show. I can't remember everybody else.
But it was a solid lineup.
Solid lineup. And I was going up second or third last. And I bodied the show so hard that when I came off stage, you know, like, you had a good set. It's just a good set to me. You know, we do that all the time. We have good sets. Big deal.
See that? He said we. Go on.
Yeah, we have good sets. We've all bodied a show. It's normal. So anyways, typical bodying of a show. It's what I do. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen
So I come backstage, and the comedians are coming over to me, and they're like, Kevin's looking for you. And I go, who the fuck is Kevin? And they go, stupid Kevin Hart. He's in the crowd. I said, no, he's not. They go, he was in the back slapping his table. He's looking for you right now. I said, whatever. So now, remember, the show is still going on. So I'm sitting down getting changed. And as I get changed, I see him. He comes in the room. It's Kevin. And he's looking around. And he sees me, and he's beelining right over to me. I go, oh, fuck, he's for real. Kevin's coming over.
Yeah.
And I was sitting down at the moment, and he comes over, and he's like, hey, man. His voice,
Yeah, I like
I do a horrible Kevin, but he's like, hey, man. And I stood up, and I was like, oh, shit, I should have sat down because he's not very tall, and he looks like a very strong 14-year-old. So, like, he's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's ripped, but he's like 140 pounds, 5'4", something like that. And you know what I mean? So I stand up, and he's like, I just want you to know, I just watched your performance, and I thought you were amazing. I think your comedy is complete. It's just a matter of time before the world recognizes you. Thank you for doing the show, because it was a production that he was paying for as well. It's LOL at JFL.
That's right.
Never got saw in Canada. It was only seen on the LOL network, which doesn't exist anymore. So now, the next day, I was pitching a TV show at this giant conference at Just for Laughs. And who is it that I'm pitching to? It's Kevin Hart. So there's 10 of us on the panel. It was 10 selected out of 4,000. I was one of the 10. And I stand up to do my pitch. And, well, let me tell you before. So the 9 people were professionals. So they had movie trailers for their pitch. I didn't know. I thought it was just pitch your idea. It's 90 seconds. That's all you have, 90 seconds. So I was just like, okay, I'll tell you what my idea is. I don't know. I've never been to a pitch. So I'm sitting down, and I'm 9th, okay? And I watched 8 movie trailers from 8 different production people.
Like, okay, like that. Like
Ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. And I'm sitting here with a piece of paper and an iPad, and I go, what the fuck is this? So now they go, Sterling Scott. So I stand up, and Kevin goes, oh, my God, it's him. And everyone, the other panel, like, who's that? He's like, this guy is an amazing comedian. He goes, everything about this guy makes me laugh. I don't know what it is, but this guy is amazing. This guy is it. And I'm like, oh my God, he doesn't know how bad this pitch is gonna be. So I go up and I do what I do. I make people laugh. I look out to the crowd and I said, y'all told me it was a 90-second pitch. Yeah. You guys put goddamn movie trailers for me to show up with an iPad? I got nothing. Listen, I have a great idea, but I didn't do all of this. You said 90 seconds. Here, I'm going to spend 30 seconds complaining about this and the other 60 seconds telling you what the idea is. And so I made the crowd laugh, and then while I made them laugh, you know what I mean? Just like the crowd work, then you slide in the material. Yes. And so then I delivered the show. And he was laughing, and he goes, man, you hilarious, man. And then so I sit down, and then he goes, I'm going to take all 10 shows. And at that moment, I thought I made it. You know what I mean? Kevin Hart just gave me a development deal. I am crying. I literally grabbed the guy next to me and tears were coming out my eye. I bit him on the shoulder. Like, it's true, I did. I was crying and everything. And then I flew out to LA in September. And I'm sitting there at Lionsgate, you know what I mean? Like, you walk in and you see the big Lionsgate thing. It's this giant white building. And then there's Mr. Scott, we've been waiting for you. And then there's somebody that comes downstairs and takes me and they give me coffee and think, oh my God, this is crazy. I'm sitting at a table like, where's Kevin? They're like, he doesn't come to these. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I sit down and they go, okay, so the idea that Kevin bought from you, that was a 30-minute show. And I go, yeah, that's what you asked for. You asked for 30-minute shows. And they go, now we want it in 8 minutes. I go, what? How you? Okay, what? Now you want an 8-minute show? Was that a thing? And so then I had to reformat my show. So I reformatted the show and sent it back so that I could prove to them that it could be done in 8 minutes. It was ridiculously hard. Then they said, all right, we're going to go in a different direction altogether now. We want an 8-minute show, 12 episodes, and not game show related. And okay, all right, cool. And so then I'm pitching. I pitched 18 ideas. And I would fly in every time to do these pitches. And then finally, in the summer of 2018, they were like, yes, this is the one. This is the one. Oh, nice. They had 3 ideas. And they were like, we want to take all 3. All right, we're going to take it to the heads. We're saying yes on all 3. They're only going to pick one. I said, that's fine with me. And then they said, okay, we'll get back to you in 7 days. It's 2021. They've never answered an email from me again. And that's how it ended. And that's the first time I've ever told that story. So, Kev, if you're watching, I got nothing but love for you, but y'all left me stranded. Holla at me. I'm hilarious. I got talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what happened in that boardroom or what happened in the back rooms, but please, holla at a boy. Holla at your boy. But yeah, that's what happened, man.
I got Kevin blocked right now. He's been DMing me so much right now. Like, he's always in my DM trying to book me and shit. So I don't know if he'll see this, but he might. Because YouTube, I got him free, so he's good to go.
Yeah, so it's that's what happened. It was very heartbreaking. Yeah,
let's talk about that for a second. Yeah. So now, Comedy Game. We'll do, like, when we first started comedy, people would offer us, like, a meal. Listen, if you come do a show, do 20 minutes, I'll give you, you know, you can have whatever you want on the menu and a drink, and, you know, we'll give you a free ticket for your friend. And I mean, sure, man, I'll fucking perform for a hamburger and a cold beer. And you know what? Here, you were hilarious. Here's a couple shots. And we would work for alcohol 11 years ago. And not for long, but we would. I would take whatever. I'd
still kind of do it.
I mean, if someone paid me, I've done it.
I still do it.
We'll give you $100 gas and $200 to perform, and you're like, okay, I'll see you in 22 hours, and drive all the way to Winnipeg and back for a show.
I actually did that with Scott Belford. I drove from Edmonton to where's past Winnipeg? It's 3 hours above it.
Kenora?
No, I can't remember the name.
Flin Flon, above it. Like
3 hours north.
Brandon?
No, man, I can't remember the name at the moment.
I only know 3 places.
But it's a tiny, tiny town.
Yeah.
And we drove. It took 14 hours to drive there, and we did it for $500
each, or together.
Each, and that only paid for gas and a night in the hotel.
The worst is when they only book one hotel room, and you find out when you get there, and they got to share a room. Like, come on, nobody wants to share a room in general, but with a comic, because comics know comedians. Like, we know each other.
I want my space, though.
We need space.
I want my place. Yeah. But like, it was hilarious when we get there. They go, all right. Do you see the nice hotel? I said, yeah. They go, you're not staying there. You're staying in the motor lodge next to it. I'm like, what?
Oh. Was the place called
Yo.
Starlight? Was it Starlight? Stardust?
It's gonna come to me at another
The
time,
pod?
and
Like
it's
now I
gonna be.
want to know.
It's a town 4 hours north of Winnipeg.
North of
3 or
Winnipeg.
4 hours north, and it's this. What is it? Not Brandon. Thompson,
Manitoba.
Manitoba.
Yeah, like there's
Thompson,
polar bears. 2 hours more, there's
Manitoba.
polar bears up there.
Here's how bad it was in Thompson, Manitoba.
Churchill's next.
The motor lodge that they put us in was so low grade that I go, hey, do you guys have an iron? And she goes, I knew you city boys would want that. And she went home to get an iron. She goes, we don't have irons at the hotel. I'm like, how do you have an operating hotel and you have no irons on site?
Shit.
She's like, nah, people don't use irons here. And she had to go home and get an iron and bring me back her iron from her house so that I can iron my clothes for the show. And I did that for gas money. So yeah, we did that.
Whatever
shit,
they throw
man.
at you, they'll just come take. So here you go, 10 years into the game, and I can vouch for Sterling. Like, not only is he a phenomenal performer, but the man is very easygoing. Like, whatever you offer, whatever you do, like, he's very, this is great. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And it's like, even as a promoter, I've booked him sometimes. I'm like, shit, all right, well, you feel good. And then I've dipped out,
man.
even like leaving him in moments where I'm like, okay.
I'm
And
a simple man.
he's a very simple man, and he delivers. And that's one reason why he continually gets booked. So here you go, fast forward to 2017.
17.
That is like pretty much the highlight of any comedian or any performer's career, any
I thought
writer's
it's-
career,
yeah, it's
to be in
huge.
front of Kevin Hart. And then all of a sudden, of course, like to the point where they fly you 18 times to Los Angeles. Just think of that.
No, I paid. They only paid for one. I paid for the other 17.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I
They
paid
got
for all
value
of
for
them.
Pitching them all your creativity.
I was given. I thought that was the make or break moment for me in my
I would too,
career.
though. I would
So I said I would do anything and everything to make sure. But like,
You were flying those days. Like, you were on
yeah,
fire.
I was flying. I was
You
flying
still
all the
is, but I mean,
time.
pandemic. But you were flying. around there.
Pandemic hurt me a lot.
A lot, eh?
It destroyed me. I had residency at the Crack 'em Up Thursdays at the Comedy Store
Was that in the belly room or main stage?
in the Belly Room, and then I was also passed at the Improv
Nice.
on La Brea, and
Yeah.
I was actually like still have the photo of me headlining on Saturday nights.
Beautiful.
I was headlining their clubs on Saturday
busy
night.
club.
Yeah, it's one of the top ones. I
Yeah.
think on the lineup was like Moshe Kasher and Sam J and Adam Devine.
Yeah.
Like that was the lineup I was headlining on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it was like I got my fair share of seeing what the Lions do, and I'm not afraid of any of them.
You've never
to be
been.
honest, the only difference I think between me and your favorite comedian is that you haven't met me yet.
No, I like that. You definitely
So-
demonstrated. So now you've, as a comedian, you know, we've talked about Parenthood. We've talked about your one of the most glorifying moments, and I still think it is. I still think that alone is an achievement to go from performing on Just for Laughs, your own showcase, being on a lineup with like killers, getting Kevin Hart to adore you, coming backstage, towering over him, then going to Los Angeles 18 times to pitch to Lionsgate, which is like one of the largest production studios in the world, only to like find out like, hey, listen, we might have 3 opportunities for you, and then shortly thereafter, things didn't come your way.
Yeah.
But that alone is an achievement. If you like, you talk about, man, I want to be more spiritual. I want to be stronger. I want to be healthier. I want to leave this legacy. Now, I've had to come to terms. I've never had quite the success you've had in comedy, but you know, when I toured with Brendan Schaub, for me, that was the pinnacle of my career, because here's one of the most famous comedians in the world now with his podcast and his, of course, he's Showtime. Like, he's everywhere now, and Brendan's like a star, former UFC, 8-4 UFC fighter. He's had some crazy fights. Him and Callan and the boys, and when he selected me over all the comedians he's worked with to go on tour, and, you know, of course, 1 or 2 shows, and that was the end of it. But that, to me, was a defining moment. Like, those 10 years of grind and hustle and despair and, like, holy fuck, what am I doing? You know, what is this? That moment was, for me, I was like, if this is it, and this is my career, and this is as far as my career is going to go, I'm content. This was great. It was a theater. It was sold out. It was Brendan Schaub. Like, this is fucking awesome. And then, of course, the pandemic came through, and, you know, I
Ripped us to shreds.
ripped us to shreds as performers. And then, of course, I adapted, pivot, and did a lot of other things, focused on my son for parenting. But it's not over for us. And I feel it's not over for especially you, because even though there was a pandemic, you still found a way to work, stay relevant. Sonny Dhaliwal has moved to Edmonton to be a part of like what you guys are doing. You're getting a billboard, which you showed me. We'll throw up on the screen here during the podcast. And I can verify that I've worked with you for 10 straight years, and every show that we've done has been exciting, and it's been amazing. You've even been a part of our commercial productions, which we'll show as well. You've come through, and this man will drive 300 kilometers from Edmonton, do 4 to 6 hours on set, say nothing, take a small fee, and just be like, all right, I got to go. I got to get back to Edmonton, and drive another 300 kilometers. So all I got to say is everything you've done an incredible job.
Thank you, man.
I think that, you know, prospectively, if you were to like, man, I want to align myself and be in tune with the elements, you're talking about fire and earth and water. And I would say that energy you felt in that moment where you said you cried and bit some random shoulder because you were so happy, that was the primal instinct in you as a warrior, right? As a hunter, we talked about that when I harvest an elk, and that is your moment, and that is your defining moment. So as you continue, you dig in and feel that moment, and you draw it out of you every single time, because you will surpass that moment. You will overcome this, and there will be a time that Sterling Scott's words will echo for eternity, because they echo with me, and I know what's cool, and I know what's popping, and I know that you have made me laugh to tears, and I know that all of us comedians are not going to be suppressed in our freedoms, and we're not going to be having like censorship over the things we say. We will be free again. And as long as we continue to fight, strive, and keep with each other and align with each other, and those who don't in our community that feel that there's another alternative, well, you go your route, because if the greats were still alive as Richard Pryor and
George Carlin,
yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's my old age kicking in.
Yeah.
George Carlin and all these greats, if they were at Bernie Mac, if these people were around today, right now, you think they would just be twiddling their thumbs? George Carlin would be on fire right now. He would be fucking just banging at the mouth right now.
Well, I don't think that we have to look too far, because the evolution of comedy, just like the same way George Carlin planted a seed that he would never see the shade under, because he broke barriers for comedians to even be able to swear on stage. So the fact that we are on stage cursing or on stage expressing political or religious views, that was taboo and unheard of. And so we don't have to look no further than within our own selves, because if we can understand what made them great, that's the seed. Now it's for us to become great.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And who's to say we're not great?
Right now. No, I'm not saying that we're not. It's,
you know
just,
what I'm saying? Like,
it's within us.
Not even like Wayne Gretzky great. I mean, just great as human beings, being good humans, humanity, just rising above. You know, both of us, like me especially, I partied like a motherfucker, from cocaine to alcohol to pussy, you name it. It's all my vices. It was good times. But it also came to a point where I was like, okay, parenting and discipline and making sure that I can live and leave a legacy for my son, and not just some tarnished reputation and just, you know, down a toilet like Elvis did. I needed to overcome these obstacles. I've quit drinking. I've quit partying. And, you know, I trained 3-4 times a day, no sugar, no flour, no dairy. I've overcome some illnesses. And here I am today to sit with one of my homies and have this podcast, which is incredible.
Great time, too.
Buddy, it is such a great time. And he's right. You know, I do spend a lot of time in the mountains. And that time I spend in the mountains, there is a healing energy. And you don't have to go ridge walking and go up some scramble, or, you know, you have to be up 3,000 feet. I think just being alone, quietly, hopefully in nature, where you can find yourself and listen to what your body and your mind and soul say to you, and don't drown it out. If it's fear, listen to what your fear has to share with you. Listen to what your aspirations have to say. Don't listen to the shortcuts. Don't listen to the easy way. Don't like, hey, put your feet up, we'll do it tomorrow. Hey, yo, we'll smoke this blunt. Yo, we'll just chill tonight. But tomorrow morning, man, we'll hit it hard. Man, I don't need to do cardio today. Yes, you need to do cardio today. Yes, you got to say no to the fucking vices that control you, because we're in a time and a place right now during this pandemic. Every fucking decision we make could be so critical. It could be life or death.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it definitely can.
And people need, and vaxxed or non-vaxxed, it doesn't matter what we're in. I've been saying this for weeks. We're on the same boat, rowing in the same direction. And the moment we build our community around freedom and about normalizing society again and reducing the suppression and just living life as best as we can, I hope that this last 2 years reminds us of how much freedom we actually had. I lived in the 80s. I lived in a time there was no seat belts. I lived in a time people smoked in the car. I lived in a time where
Same
there were
here.
no lifeguards. There was nothing. There was no safety features. You'd go to a Ferris wheel. There was no bar to keep you in. You just had to be like, well, don't lean forward, stupid. And that was how life was. It was a simplistic time where it was just, you know what? Use your common sense. Develop the tools necessary to survive. And you know what? There were so many times that people looked out for me coming up as a child. It starts to develop traits in you to look after the fellow man. And that is how we were raised. It takes a tribe, you know, to raise a child. And it takes a village to raise a community. And ultimately, that's what our children need right now. We don't need to be putting masks on babies and be putting vaccines in their bodies. We need to show love. We need to show humanity, and that's where I'm at these days. So that wild man you used to know, he's still here. But now it's like, instead of smashing something, I'm more like, well, how can we solve this?
Well, it's just like I had said with the parenting. The tools that we had are not the tools that are available today. And we have to look at the hand that we're dealt.
There's
so
a
to
spider.
speak. Yeah, it's a spider. It's all good. This is all right.
I'm all like, it's all about humanity
And
and
then
life.
you kill a spider. I would have let him rock. We have to look at the tools that we have and the hand that we're dealt. We can't talk about the one that we played. We have to look at the hand that we're dealt. And the hand that we're dealt now is not the one that was dealt in the 80s.
That's what I said.
And so in 2021, just take a look at the hand that you have and play that hand. We can't focus on what we had. We only can focus on what we have. And what we have right now is still the ability to talk to one another.
That's what's up.
And, you know, like you said, to end it on a positive note, man, I'm all about the love. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, we are in a very divisive time that regardless of what side, I don't even want to tell people what I am, because regardless of your answer, it's going to cause a fight.
And you know
And
what?
so-
It's nobody's business. Nobody
Yeah.
was walking around 10 years ago, hey, you got AIDS or no? You got AIDS? You know what I mean? Hey,
Right?
listen, you got
But
diabetes?
Again, we've
Name
got to
them.
look at the hand that we're dealt.
That's what's up. That's
so
in the
the
moment.
new hand is this new world. And so I choose not to become divisive, because I know that a lot of people are scared on both sides.
That's true.
And moving out of the emotion of fear is always a self-preserving one. It's an irrational one. And whatever side of the spectrum you are on, if you're on the far left or far right, you're both crazy.
My brother.
It's in the middle. It's in the middle to find love.
That's what's up.
So, hey, man, everybody just be happy and love each other.
Hold on.
Find empathy.
We didn't, I'll find empathy. We didn't get to try your homegrown cannabis.
Oh, I didn't know we were allowed to do that on the show. Sorry.
For very special occasions, we have the green light to light up. Thank you so much. Look at this. Clear rolling papers. That's exciting. You know, this man has done things in comedy that most of us would dream of if we ever
we need an
became
ashtray.
performers. We're going to smoke one each?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I don't know
Yeah.
if I got the lung capacity to do.
You can put it out. I call this COVID smoking. So
Okay.
like that way, you know what I mean? Anybody watching is
Anybody
like,
look at my,
share.
anybody see my face right now? All of a sudden I was like, what do you mean I got to smoke this whole thing? There's like a gram of weed in this, bro.
Yeah, man. That's exactly how much
This
is in
dude's
there.
got a torch to light it with. Like,
Yeah, there's
we
exactly.
had my
exactly
boy Jay
1
Anthony
gram.
on the show, J-Track, as you know him, maybe. Remember from Top Leaf?
Yes, I do.
So we had him on the show. He's a cannabis icon here in Canada and started Top Leaf Cannabis, him and his 2 partners. And here we are today, and he was the only show that I blazed on. And this will be the 2nd time, so this is great. So kids at home, this is a torch. And I think you just do this. I've never used this. This is craziness right here. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm getting at it.
Yeah, that's a
not
good
put
way.
this on it.
That's a good way to do it. That's a.
We're not going to put that in the podcast, though. Not me lighting it. I never lit no joint with a fucking torch before. I was like,
Yeah. So like, I grew this myself, and it's Gorilla Glue number 4, and one of the things that I like to that makes me happy about it, because this is my first time growing from seed to harvest through soil, and what I like about
It's
it,
sweet.
it's not only sweet, it's a very smooth pull. If you look at the ash, it's white.
Yes, it is.
which lets you know that there's no chemicals in it. It's been cured. Because like I made sure I did like on the last week, I only put water to wash out any of the fertilizers, and then I didn't let you smoke this until I let it cure for a month. So this was done a month ago, and I've just had it in a jar where I just burp the air every day. You know, it's my first time. It's
Your first batch ever you grow?
First ever. And so I'm just looking to get better so that I could just be able to grow my own stuff for me personally, because it's
So
kind
what
of like
Sterling's
a
saying,
meal.
he goes, if we don't get gigs, you're going to start buying our weed, is what he's going to say.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, get us to your city. We'll do a show. We'll bring the weed. I'll do the cooking, right? That's what I've been doing. We do these cannabis shows.
You
Sonny's
cook really
around.
well.
Like, yo, what are we doing, man?
He's a phenomenal host.
Yo, we got Sonny. Yeah, man.
He's a great comic, and I love him.
Great comic. Sonny
You guys want to
Dollywall.
look up somebody great. His name is Sonny Dollywall at Sonny D Comedy. He's fucking phenomenal. One of the best in the country.
Our boy Brett, our boy right here in Edmonton, our boy Brett Forte. You're working with Forte tonight, right? Yuck
Yeah,
Yucks.
tonight we're at Yuck
Two
Yucks.
shows.
Two shows. Brett Forte, Amber Harper Young, and I have a guest coming in from Edmonton, Tashoma Aitin Fisu.
Wow.
Yeah, you know he's black.
It's very black name. Very black name.
That's a very black name.
That's very
man.
African.
His name Aitin Fisu in Eritrean actually means in Amharic actually means choke them.
Choke them.
His last name means choke them.
So he's Eritrean.
Yeah, I was
Right
like,
next
yeah.
to Ethiopia. And you know what? Italians spent a lot of time in both those countries.
Yeah, because they were being educated there. A lot of your philosophers.
Man, did you know that some Ethiopians and Eritreans speak better Italians than Italians?
Do you know that the national food of Ethiopia is spaghetti?
I did hear this.
That's a fact.
Did you know that? Did you know that Hannibal and the Corinthians conquered Rome through the Swiss Alps? The Ethiopian armies, over 1 million man
Yeah.
army, marched through the Alps. He lost them in winter, but still had
Can you get
enough.
that lighter?
Yeah, he still had enough.
Oh, I have it.
Hannibal still had enough soldiers that he sacked Rome. And he took them from the backside where they were undefended. That's how smart this
Yeah.
man was. He stayed there for almost like, I don't know how long. I can't answer that.
can't
but,
remember
but when the Romans were in Germania fighting the barbaric tribes, they all of a sudden got word that they got sacked. So they had to take back from the Germania, go back, drive out the Corinthians, who then were like, well, we cannot take Rome from the front, but we can sack all the way to Sicily.
Yeah.
And that's technically
Hannibal was a great leader, but his downfall was the fact that he used elephants, and then they had to cross terrains in which an elephant couldn't cross, and that's how they ended up losing a lot of soldiers. And the climate changed as well. That was their downfall. But that actually happened to Napoleon as well. When with his losses, it was it Napoleon?
Why'd you make eye
Napoleon, it was-
contact when you were talking about Napoleon, though?
No.
As
I
soon
was
as you said
thinking,
Napoleon,
sorry,
you went
I
like
was-
this. You looked at me right
No,
in the
because
eye.
I'm
It's
looking.
like,
I was thinking
little.
it wasn't Napoleon who lost in the weather. It was the Germans
Russians.
who lost to the Russians.
They advanced to the Russians, and then
And
that's
the
where-
Russians
yeah.
had. It's crazy that America takes a lot of the credit because the World War II was actually won mostly by the Russians' defense against the Axis of the Axis of Evil is George Bush's name, but it was called the something Axis. They were 3 countries. It was Japan, Germany, and Italy.
Oh yes. Was that when Mussolini was in charge?
Yeah, they hung him upside down in the square until we know a lot about shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why I know these things.
But
to
you
be
know what's
honest with
crazy?
you. It's
Not too
honestly
mu-
because they're interesting to me.
Well, because also I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I do, it's always a documentary. And it's always
I like
History Channel.
documentaries. I like them.
Nah, man, me
That's
too.
how I learned about
History
that
Channel,
stuff
man.
with,
This shit right here, History
with
Channel.
Hannibal.
Yeah.
And I learned
Crazy.
about that, and then also about the Ethiopia has never been dominated or controlled. They've never been taken over. That's a pretty big deal. But yeah, so yeah, that's
This
the
week
history of
is-
Tashoma Aitin Fisu. I can't wait for him to see this because he'd be like, "What the hell? You guys just went into a whole fucking spiel on my name?" Yeah, we're pretty educated.
He's looking at me right now going, fuck, that old man is really high right now, Sterling. That's what he's thinking right now. He goes, you got that old man lit on his podcast with your Homestone. This weed is crazy. How can I smoke this
Can I get that
entire
already?
amount?
You don't have to, but
No, but I
It's,
have to now. I have to. And then we end the show, and then
it's a great.
we're lit.
I like it because it's a functional high. Like when I'm done, I'm high, but you know.
This is functional?
Well, this is how my brain functions, at least.
This is crazy. I feel like
I dropped it on myself.
I'm doing so good right now. I'm burning down chips. Hey, jujitsu, you want this? This is what's
That's
happening
fucking-
right now. Bro, you know what we could do? I could put a gi on you right now, and we could play roll. We could just have a light roll.
If it wasn't for the time, because I got to do a show in an hour?
What if it's 5 minutes? What if we just stretched?
No, I'm going home.
You don't want to stretch?
Not today. I've got to get into the zone.
This is how we
There's
really
a zone.
are. There we go.
There's
Chris,
a zone. There's a
Chris,
zone
we can't
that you
stretch.
got into.
Chris, we can't stretch. Sorry.
When you know what I'm saying. So for you guys who don't understand, when you there's a switch that flips when you go from pedestrian to comedian, you know, and
This is his Denzel moment right here.
it's
He's
like that
getting
moment.
Denzel.
It's just that moment when there's no longer the person, it's the comedian. And it's like when you're the comedian, it's like you see the world differently, you speak differently. It's like it's using a different set of energy and a different power. And that power source requires silence. You know, and you just need that time. Just that time. Just give me a moment. I'm about to be on stage. I gotta be funny. I just need this moment. And in that moment, when that switch flips, I turn into the comedian. You know what I'm saying? I typically would need between an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. When it's a big show, 6 hours. I need 6 hours before the show to get into that zone. And so,
Do you go outside for
unfortunately,
walks? Like, do you get around?
Nah,
No?
it's all about tapping
Like,
in
if you were
inside.
in Vancouver, you wouldn't go for lunch and maybe come back?
No, it's all
Just
inside.
inside?
Internal.
In your room? You just in
Internal,
your room?
yeah.
So, like, those
Intern.
days I book you and I try to reach out to you, like, hey, we got to do this promo. Hey, what time's dinner? You're just like, fucking boom in the zone.
Yeah, I shower, I lay the clothes out, I get myself clean, and I, perform my rituals, my routines. What am I wearing? What's your lineup? Where's your stuff? What do you need? I make sure that everything is taken care of so that I don't have to think. My brain doesn't have to think about those things, and it takes some time. So unfortunately today, I'm gonna have to skedaddle on you, but brother, we gotta do this again sometime.
This is your weed?
Yeah, I grew this myself. Yeah, I'm high right now, so I'm gonna stop. I'm high.
Was this like
I'm high.
this was,
I'm high.
I got a whole day to go still. I got a life to live.
Yeah, this puts me in a perfect Zen mode. See, this is now.
I have
Now
anxiety.
I'm ready. I'm ready now to go into preparation for the show. Now I'm ready. Like, I don't have a lot of social energy. I get tired being around people a lot, and so
I like this.
I need to recharge my battery, and this is like I'm ready to recharge now. And so yeah, I'm gonna take some of that delicious food that you brought.
Italian supermarket, thank you so much.
Chris catered this entire event. Sorry, let me get this stuff off the table.
Oh, yeah. We can, yeah.
But I would like to say before we get up out of here is, thank you for not just being a great entertainer, a comedian, but a human, but also my friend. And I missed you, and I'm honored to be in your presence.
My brother.
All
That's
right,
so
man.
kind, man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
Man. Now let's get the hell up out of here.
You know, what was once said to me, believe nothing of what you see and only half of what you hear. And sometimes less said is the better. Sterling, you're an amazing individual, and I appreciate that you came onto my show, you expressed yourself, you're a great man, you're a great artist, and a great father. Thank you for being so kind. Everyone, thank you for tuning to episode 19 featuring Sterling Scott, one of the best comedians on earth, here on this show tonight. Thank you, Alavanca, for providing us a place to have our broadcast each and every week. Thank you, Tim Blanchard, for everything you do. And thank you, Calgary, for always being supportive. And thank you to our subscribers that tune in every week, Thursday, 8 p.m. We're moving up. Believe it. That's what I would do in real life. I just start, oh!